It's been more than 2 weeks since Iraqis went to the polls. Many of the country's youth who had demanded the vote be held earlier didn't show up on election day. Voter turnout hovering in the low 40s could be a challenge for Iraq's next government, which will have to battle deep mistrust among the public. And as negotiations move forward on what type of coalition could form in parliament, questions are rising about who the big winners and losers will be. Preliminary results show that many pro-Iranian parties lost seats in the October 10 vote. Claims of fraud have been rampant among supporters of Shia militias and parties tied to Iran. The big winner in the election appears to be a movement led by the firebrand cleric Muqtada al Sadr. Best known for directly challenging U.S. forces during the early days of the U.S. occupation, al Sadr has rebranded himself as a nationalist and critic of Iran. Iraq's Kurdish parties also saw big gains, with the KDP poised to play a pivotal role in any coalition government. And to discuss where Iraq could be headed, I'm joined now from Baghdad by Ahmed Rushdi. He is the president of the House of Iraqi Expertise Foundation and the former advisor to the Speaker of the Iraqi Parliament. And in Ankara, Ahmet Keser is an associate professor at the Department of Political Science and International Relations at Hasan Kalyoncu University. Gentlemen, welcome to Straight Talk. It's good to have you on the program. Mr. Rushdi, what do you make of the election's outcome?
Well, the results were astonished for all Iraqis, actually. Most likely the political blocs, and especially the pro-Iranian political blocs. We all expected that there will be some sort of increasing in seats, decreasing in seats in a way or another. But at the end, we didn't expect that it will be astonishing results. Now, Muqtada al Sadr, the Sadrs took about 73, the others took more than 37, as Maliki, or the other pro-Iranian, which is Fatah, only 17, Hikmah, Hakim, only 5. So all these numbers become some sort of a shock for those pro-Iranian blocs.
Yeah, but I think it was the lowest turnout in the 5 elections since Saddam Hussein was toppled in 2003. I mean, why do you think the election turnout was so low?
Well, it's obvious. It's that the people desperate from this political process. There is no real results. There is no real product from this political process that help people to have some sort of prosperity in their life. It is obvious. Even the people that backed Hashid, backed the PMF, actually they don't want leaders push their sons to the war. They want those political blocs which are supposed to be defending them or defending Iraqis against Daesh should rebuild Iraq, but they didn't do something like that, and they gave them a chance for about 4 years. Yes. So you can imagine how much desperate Iraqis become from this political process.
So, Mr. Keser, would you agree with Mr. Rushdie? I mean, are Iraqi people hopeless about the future of their country, and didn't they believe that these elections would bring about change?
I will agree mostly, because normally if we have a low voter turnout, we may have two options. The first, it is a positive option, and usually it is valid for developed democratic countries which has an institutionalized system, so that people may think that the coming elections will not make any change in their lives and welfare system. On the other side of the medal, it is for low democratic countries. The people may lose their trust for the politicians, and they may think that whoever wins never bring any good for their future life. So when they lost their trust for the politicians, yes, they may not need to go and vote for that one. I think for Iraqi case, the second option is valid.
So, Mr. Rushdie, who do you think will be able to form the new government? I mean, al Sadr or Maliki?
It is a $1 million question, and the answer should be built up in a way or another on Iraqi politics, not general politics, because, general politics has some sort of a system. Iraqi politics does not have a system. Yes. In a way or another, now we are expecting Sadrists should form a majority government. but I don't think it's happened like that, because what's happening now is delaying. Let us wait for the end results of the IHAC, of the Electoral Committee, and also the Supreme Court, because we are hearing that the Supreme Court will go forward to have manual recounting of the electoral boxes. So you can imagine how much it's going to take time.
Yes.
And it looks like in the Iraqi politics, more time, more go forward for compromises rather than to have a majority government.
So, I mean, does Mustafa al Qaeda, Mr. Rushdie, an independent who is said to have balanced Iraq's relations between the US and Iran, stand a chance to become the prime minister again? Because he said he wanted to become one. And if so, how's that going to change anything?
Well, for two reasons, I don't think he has high percent of become prime minister again. Number one, why people went to the elections? Because they want change. They want to change faces. So why they should expect that Kadhimi, Barham Saleh, and Halbusi will stay? This is the first thing. The other most important thing is that I don't think the Shia, especially the pro-Iranian blocs, want Mr. Kadhimi to stay again, because he actually made raise up a flag against the Hashid, against the PMF, and so on.
So, Mr. Keser, tell us, why have pro-Iranian groups suffered significant losses in these elections?
The first side is the impact of the changed electoral law just before the elections, because the number of the districts increased to 83. It was before each province was just one district, and it was 18. When we see the results of the votes, the total number of the votes gained by Al-Fatah is still more than that one, but the seats won decreased dramatically.
So it has, you say it's got nothing to do with Iran losing political ground in the country and in the broader region.
No, that is the second part. The first part is related with the law. The second part is, I think when we read the explanations of the Iraqi people and the leaders also, now they think to go on by themselves with their own decisions, not with the intervening of the outsider powers, including Iran as well. So the pro-Iran groups and their activities, especially deteriorating the security situation, is not good for the future of the Iraq, and the citizens and the political leadership doesn't want it anymore. So that loses the support of the people as well.
So there are ongoing protests, Mr. Rushdie, by pro-Iranian groups with some alleging voter fraud. Could these calls escalate tension in the country and be a threat to the legitimacy of the next government? And is al Sadr's call on Iranian-backed militias to disarm likely to cause unrest among their supporters?
Well, starting from 2003, the scenario of the Iraqi politics is always like that. First of all, let's go for tension, let's escalate things, let's do ethnic clashes and so on, which will end up to compromise. So everyone is raising his chances to go for compromise. And let us not forget, in 2004, Muqtada al Sadr and Jaish al-Mahdi at that time fought the American forces because they were not inside the Iraqi government. Once they went to the Iraqi government, be inside the Iraqi government, everyone dropped weapons, and so on. And 2010, 2014, 2018. So everyone is pushing, especially the Shia blocs, pushing everything to the edge. Then they will go for compromise. So I think we are in the first part of the Iraqi politics, of the Shia Iraqi politics, which is tension.
Yes.
Then it will go for more and more. It will be softer and to be ended with some sort of a compromise. So,
Mr. Keser, how will Turkey's relations with Iraq be impacted if a government is formed, let's say, by Muqtada al Sadr, KDP, and Taqadum? I mean, what kind of a combination is that?
Normally, the results of the elections are just born a baby crying still, and it is a challenging question as well. Because first of all, the negotiations for the coalition government will take maybe so long, because at least they need 165 seats, and even not 2 or 3 parties or coalitions are not enough to construct a government. But KDP is one option because it is not a part of coalition, just a single party, and negotiation might be easier to some aspect. On the other side, they might start to regain the losses after the referendum progress. So this may be a challenge for the negotiations, but still on the agenda. But I think Muqtada al Sadr's approach and explanations after the elections may give a good explanation, a good start for the relations as well with Turkey. And I think whoever established the government will have a good relations with Turkey.
Mr. Rushdie, do you agree? And because some argue an al Sadr government would be more advantageous for relations with Turkey.
Well, let us be more specific. I think now the pro-Iranian blocs convinced the Sunnis to be united, which means that the Sunnis are now united. I mean, Taqaddum and Azm, both Sunni blocs are making negotiations now.
Okay.
With the KDP is already staying away, saying, "Okay, guys, united yourself and then come to me," which show you that the pro-Iranian start to manage all those fronts, and which means that there will be a pressure on Muqtada al Sadr. Why you are not talking to the other Shia? The Sunnis are united, the Kurds will be united, and we are not united. So some sort of a popular pressure on Muqtada al Sadr, because Muqtada actually, he's now with the victory spirit. He's now not accepting any negotiations, start to talk on an upper hand, start always to talk that the prime minister will be Sadrist, the prime minister will be Sadrist. So it shows you that this is the victory spirit. But eventually, the game is just like 2010, when Ayad Allawi, al-Iraqiyya bloc at that time, took 91 seats, while Maliki and the Shia took only 89 seats.
Yes.
And it's supposed to be Ayad Allawi become the prime minister, end up with Maliki prime minister.
Okay.
So the game is by time. Push hard to have more time, there will be more changes in the game.
Yeah, in the meantime, Iraq maybe is losing its energy. So, Mr. Keser, we know Sadr has always been a nationalist, but why do you think he has grown a critic of Iran?
I think, first of all, he read the people's decisions before, because really people are so bored of interventions from outside and the tensions ongoing on the street, terrorist activities, and I think they want to live in peace conditions without any conflict anymore. So by using the social media, propaganda, and works on the street, also Sadrist movement worked hard on that issue, and they read the opinions of the people well enough, I think. So without having any outsider powers influence, they want to construct a new era, I think.
Mr. Rushdie, very quickly, could a Sadr become a U.S. ally to confront Iranian influence? Very quickly, please.
In a way or another, yes, for now. But by time, I don't think so, because eventually Iraq has so many commitments with Iran.
All right, gentlemen, unfortunately, we'll have to leave it here. Thank you very much for joining us on Straight Talk.